Welcome to another episode of Women in Focus. Our Woman in Focus today is a very special person for me. I know that I say that many a times, but this one is very special because I've known her since she was about 5, 6, 7 years old. Zahra Esmail is her name. And I want to read a little bit about her. She is the CEO of Vantage Point. She is one of the 40 under 40, so powerful woman, past chair of BC Poverty Reduction, currently with BCIT on their board, governor, and she just recently received King Charles III coronation medal. She is our Woman in Focus today, so you can see how proud I am of her. Zahra, you're most welcome in our program. How are you doing?
I am so honored to be here, Sushmaji. Thank you so much.
So, you know, I have this video of you when we were doing a lot of programs about family violence and drinking and driving and so on and so forth. And you were in one of those videos, and I was just looking at it the other day. I'm going to show a little part of that in the program.
Okay. My daughter will love that.
But, you know, I wanted to talk to you about your major work has been in nonprofit. Mm-hmm. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was reflecting on this, not sure exactly what we would talk about, but thought about, you know, what have been the key highlights in my life. And I've had a very colorful journey. I knew from basically early in my undergrad that I wanted to focus on nonprofit work. Yeah.
And what was it? Why was it that you wanted to focus on that?
So I visited India for the first time when I was 17.
Oh, okay.
And when I visited India, I remember feeling very taken by the fact that it was the first time I was with people who looked like me. I had never experienced that before in my life. And I had this curiosity and this kind of attraction. So I kept looking for opportunities to go back to India. And I thought about what kind of career I could have that might take me to other parts of the world, and particularly India. So I wanted to study international development. And that's, of course, a nonprofit field.
Right.
So I did my undergraduate degree at UBC, and then I did a certificate in fundraising from BCIT because I understood that fundraising would always be an aspect of nonprofit work and, you know, important skills.
Yeah.
And then even further back, you know, I grew up in, I'm not a very active member of the community, but I grew up in the Ismaili Muslim community.
Yes.
And this concept of seva, of service, has always been really deeply kind of integrated into the way that I was raised. And so, you know, having the time that we have, if we're able to help uplift other people and build stronger community, has always been meaningful. I used to volunteer at Normanna Rest Home when I was very young, and even little things like that, perhaps. And the video that we did, which was, you know, put on, I think, by
South Vancouver Neighborhood House.
South Van Neighborhood House and Family Services of Greater Vancouver. So these were nonprofits that were coming together to help community learn how to help each other and talk about the issues that sometimes cause harm for children, for families, and build people's skills so that they can maybe do better, right? So all of those things have come together in a way that just sort of guided me into this field of work.
And for the past 4 years, you've been with Vantage Point.
That's right, yeah.
What is that?
So it's very, it's fun. I've been in the sector for 20 years.
Right.
And all of my jobs, whether in international development or leading South Vancouver Neighborhood House, because I did go on to be the executive director there for 5 years.
That's right.
All of these different experiences, I did start to recognize that there were some systemic issues that were keeping the nonprofit sector back. So funding, structures,
that's the main one, isn't it?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I also grew up doing Bharatanatyam, and so even in the arts community, in my daughter's sports teams or her daycare, you know, there were these environmental pieces that were holding organizations back. And I remember that when I became a nonprofit manager, I didn't have a lot of training to help me do my job well and learn how to manage people. And then I saw Vantage Point, which was this organization that actually, being a nonprofit ourselves, we identify those challenges that nonprofits have that people don't usually talk about, people don't usually want to fund. They're not, you know, attractive to fund.
Yes.
But they're important.
They're very, very essential for the growth of the community.
Absolutely. And, you know, they say strong organizations can have strong programs. So we really focus on kind of that individual organizational capacity through strategic planning and governance training and leadership development, those sorts of pieces. And then we also are doing research and policy work on the nonprofit sector. So we're the backbone organization of the BC Nonprofit Network, which is in its third year. So,
isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's meaningful.
So your conversation with the government then is a lot?
Yeah.
Are they receptive to it, or they just listen to it and go, ah?
I think all levels of government recognize the value of nonprofits, but it does depend on who's the leader and, you know, what the environment is like.
Right.
I think
Even
that
the global or the economic?
all of those factors. So I think in the early days of COVID, which is when I joined Vantage Point, or I kind of late stage of COVID, I joined Vantage Point. But in the early stages of COVID, I think that recognition of the value of nonprofits was really high.
Yeah.
Because if you remember back, seniors, for example, were scared to leave their home. Somebody had to step in and help them get their medication get food security programs out the door. And so nonprofits were really stepping up. And I think even childcare providers, the impact that has on the whole economy. There's so many ways that nonprofits were helping youth loneliness and isolation. So I think the visibility and the recognition of the value was very high. In current economic times, it's harder. Like, I don't think that the value is less, but I think the means to support is tighter, both for the public and the government.
So majority of your money then obviously would come from either donations from people or would come from the government directly. So how easy or difficult is it?
Right now for the nonprofit sector, it's probably one of the hardest times that most leaders have experienced in the last maybe 10, 15 years. It's hard for them to know how much they can contribute also to
so it's
nonprofits.
A dominoes effect, isn't it?
It's government, it's corporations, it's individuals as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so the nonprofit sector is a strong sector.
It is.
It's a very adaptable and resilient sector. So Vantage Point can help nonprofits figure out how to pivot. Some organizations are definitely closing, but many are figuring out how to kind of double down into their core reason for being and really lean into that and even communicate in a different way.
I want to talk a little bit about the childhood that you've had and how that sort of brought you into this. And then, of course, your own life. But shall we take a short commercial break?
Sure, that sounds good.
Zahra Esmail is our Woman in Focus today. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Women in Focus. Zahra Esmail is our Woman in Focus today. So, Zahra, we were talking about your stepping into nonprofit world. I'm going to come back to it a little bit more because many people just really don't have knowledge of what nonprofit organizations can do for the community around them, because I think it is a very important one. But let's talk about you as a kid. You were born here?
Yes, in Calgary.
In Calgary?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about mom and dad. They left Africa?
Yes, Mom was born in Moshi, Dad in Nairobi, and they both left, part of that large community migration.
That's
Ended up in Canada in the 70s.
Yes.
They met in Calgary.
Yeah.
I think got married in 1975.
Right.
Yeah.
and then you happened.
Yeah, my two older sisters in the 70s, me in the early 80s, and there you go. We moved to Vancouver in 1990, I think. So
oh, wow.
Yeah, when I was about 8 years old. And I
Isn't that beautiful?
The first connections I made were with you and others in our community through dance and community, and it really made us feel at home here.
Yeah. Now I think it's opposite. Many people. I was talking to some Ismaili friends, and Hazir Imam is going to be here. So a lot of the largest Ismaili community now is in Calgary.
Oh, I'm not surprised, actually. Yeah.
A lot of people have moved over there.
Yeah.
Earlier, I mean, it was Calgarians coming to Vancouver, and now it's the other way around. So, you and your two older sisters?
Yes.
So, how was childhood?
Childhood was fun. You know, I think about my daughter's 11.
Yes.
And she The way that her summers are, you know, she's in a different camp every week. This year they were in Young Movie Makers. Okay. Again, I think powered in part by nonprofits. So they're there even when we aren't looking. They're doing a lot of stuff. Next week she's doing 4 cats. She's doing like a rock climbing. Very, very different from my side.
Did their work ethics affect you?
Very much, very, very much. My parents, I mean, as many newcomers do, they had to hustle.
Yes.
And, you know, there was a very almost survival mode.
Right.
And even I think when we got into a sort of economic stability where they didn't have to be in survival mode, it was always there. And my mom is in her early 80s now. It's still there. You know, I think it's so deep-seated because of their early experiences.
Right.
But I think about, you know, how much I learned. I do speak on panels with immigrant communities sometimes.
Right.
And I always say I'm not an immigrant myself, but as the child of immigrants, I learned a lot about what that journey looks like. And I also can understand some of the dynamics that come up when your children are raised here.
Right.
So when there's new people coming in, I can almost give some warning signs or advice about, you know, what's to expect and what's normal when these tensions do come up, because our values are a little bit different.
They are, aren't they? But you mentioned about the sense of giving and volunteering, which comes from your own culture as well.
Absolutely.
You know, Ismailis are very particular about that. In Khane, you had to be a volunteer, right? All kids had to be volunteers. And when partnership walks used to come in, you had to make sure all the kids are standing there with bottles of water, giving it to everybody.
Absolutely.
You know, so that part of a community is very important. Do you think we are retaining that, or to a certain extent we are losing it?
You know, it's such a good question. I do think that it's there, but I think it's less explicit.
Yeah.
In the nonprofit sector, we do a lot of studies and research about volunteerism, and all of the trends seem to be declining. But I've said often to my colleagues who work at Volunteer Canada, Volunteer BC, I think we're not capturing the data about religious-based volunteering.
Yes.
And the volunteering that maybe isn't formal, but still very much takes place, particularly in newcomer communities.
Yes.
Because naturally people want to help each other, right? And
they do.
You gravitate to the people who maybe share your language, share your customs, share your food, at least for the first while. And a lot of informal support is happening in those spaces, even if it may not be formally through a nonprofit.
So, getting married.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was a long time ago, Shushmanji. Do you know how old I was when I got married? It feels ridiculous now, but I was 25.
No kidding, you got married very young.
Very young.
Yeah.
So this is a funny story.
Yes.
My husband and I actually met in high school. We were 15. We both transferred into the same high school,
I see.
Caribou Hill, so Burnaby girl here.
Yeah.
But we were just friends for a long time, and then we didn't start dating until I was about 22. But we had known each other for 10 years by the time I was 25. So we got married pretty young. And, you know, I'm kind of a little bit of a crazy person. We celebrated 1 year of marriage.
Yes.
And then he encouraged me, but I did get accepted for an Aga Khan Foundation fellowship in India.
Right.
And so after we celebrated 1 year, I got on a plane and went to Jaipur for 8 months, and then Bangladesh for 2.5 months. So I left for almost a year.
Oh, wow.
But I married, thankfully, a wonderful guy who was very encouraging. And after that, Shushmaji, he had a good job at UBC.
Yes.
But I got an opportunity from BRAC, where I was working in Bangladesh.
That's right.
To go and work in Haiti. And I had studied international development. This was something I really wanted to do. So my husband actually quit his job
and
moved with me to Haiti. So we spent 1.5 years living in Haiti together. And the man he had traveled to Mexico once. Otherwise, he had not really been outside of the country until I was in India, and he came and visited me there. So.
And how was it in Haiti for you?
Haiti was intense, most definitely. We moved there about 8 months after the big earthquake. And it was very intense. I think we learned a lot there. He was working for an independent school with sort of the wealthiest Haitians, and I was working with people who were living in quite poverty and had lost homes and livelihoods and all of those pieces. So it was really easy to see the differences in folks who have means and those who don't. And I learned a lot, honestly, about power dynamics. And when I was working in India, one of the things I loved, the fellowship that I had, I was with a local organization where all the staff, all the management were Indian. And they were well educated and they knew their community and they could speak the languages, knew the culture, and knew how to do things. And when I moved to Haiti, most of those sorts of roles were staffed by foreigners like myself.
No
and
kidding.
So the voice of the people who were impacted by community
wasn't heard.
It wasn't not strongly heard at all. And I remember being really struck by that. And as I've kind of continued on my journey, transitioning now to local development, but still now in leadership positions, thinking about power and whose voice is heard and who's included in decision making is something I don't always do perfectly, but it's always in my mind, right?
I was just looking at your head and see that little head of yours is ticking all the time, isn't it? I want to bring you back to your own organization and, of course, your daughter as well. You said one is more than enough.
Yes, yes, she's a handful. She's wonderful.
Let's take a short break and come back.
Sure.
Zahra is our Woman in Focus today. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Women in Focus. Zahra Esmail is our Woman in Focus today. Do you know, I've been thinking about interviewing you for at least 10 years.
Oh.
This is what has been going on in my head and never got an opportunity until you called me and you said, I want to tell you something, but you have to keep it quiet.
That's right.
How did that happen?
Okay, so last year I was appointed to the board of BCIT as a board of governor, and very exciting. I'm learning a lot by being there.
Yes.
And they put me on the tributes committee. So my first meeting, we're going through all the nominees, and there was a category for the honorary doctorate. The first name I saw was Sushma Dutt. And I said, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. I know you've been such an anchor at BCIT with the media and broadcasting journalism program. So anyway, I actually recused myself because I said there's no way I can be objective with this particular woman who I've looked up to my entire life. And so anyway, of course, you were selected. And when that decision came out, I went back to them and I said, can I please be the one to make the phone call, because nothing will be more meaningful for me.
Oh,
so
sweet.
Yeah, it meant a lot. I was so honored to be able to tell you that you were selected as an honorary doctorate recipient.
Why is Zahra calling? That was such a beautiful surprise, and it was so heartfelt, really. So, you know, Zahra, BCIT and then Vantage, how do they both connect?
Yeah, so I was on the Poverty Reduction Advisory Committee for about 6-7 years as the chair for the last 5-6 years. And so as I was terming off of that, I had really learned so much by being part of a government committee.
Right.
And so I reached out to them and said, hey, you know, I'd be interested in doing something different. And so they were looking for new board members for different academic institutions.
Beautiful.
And I took so much from my very short certificate program at BCIT.
Yes.
But it really, I really felt how it gave me an edge when I was looking for work.
Yeah, but it's a very important and a very interesting institution, isn't it?
Oh, it's dynamic. It's fascinating. Yeah.
So many different ways.
And I love that it's adaptive to industry. So when it comes back to Vantage Point, one of my goals, and you know, this is not wearing either hat, but just I feel like there could be more work to support the nonprofit sector with people getting training outside of high school or you know, in their earlier career to learn how to be effective in nonprofit organizations. So there's this whole industry of workers that doesn't get a lot of formal training. And in an ideal world, BCIT would be the place that might be able to happen. So
beautiful. That is just amazing. Now let's come to your daughter, because you know, you said she is in so many different she hops from one place to another. So you said she's about 11 years old?
She's 11,
What do you see her doing in life?
So all the young person wants to do is dance, Sushma ji. She dances like intensely and she loves it so much. It's her favorite thing. We had her in all sorts of things, and over time she's zeroed in on dance. But very different dance than I used to do.
You did Bharatanatyam.
Bharatanatyam and
Kathak.
So I was a classical Indian dancer, and I kind of dabbled in the Bollywood kind of Hindi funk on the side. I did some years with Shamak.
Yes.
But Zahra is hip hop, jazz. She started doing contemporary.
Wow.
And she's very excited to do musical theater. She loves it, and she has a wonderful community. Our school is called The Happening.
Yes.
They're wonderful. Just such a wonderful community there. And yeah, so she's thriving in the dance, and she likes school. She's a very professional student. But yeah, she's delightful. A lot of fun.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I think probably still in Vancouver.
Yes.
My husband and I, we lived in Toronto for a while. We lived overseas. There's always this curiosity about if there could be another phase somewhere else, just because it's
How
such
many
a good
different
way
places
to
have you
learn.
been?
Oh, been.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 or a little more than 20. But we've actually lived in Toronto, in Vancouver, and in Haiti. And I've lived in India and Bangladesh. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's exciting, and it's such a good way to learn. But I think we'll be here for some time. And I want to continue to work in the nonprofit sector and find different ways to support it.
Good pillar for them.
Yeah. And I've received so much from the sector in the last 2 decades. So I hope to continue to contribute.
And how did you feel when you when you were selected as 40 under 40?
So now that was several years ago. I'm not under 40 anymore, unfortunately.
So it's been going on since then.
It was while I was at the Association of Neighborhood Houses.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky. I was the ED of South Vancouver Neighborhood House, and I had the opportunity to be the initiator of the Marpole Neighborhood House.
Wow.
So I was their first executive director, and it was the way that the organization wanted to recognize that effort, and it meant a lot to me. Yeah, it was really meaningful.
It's been my dream to interview you, and I always find this half an hour too small, too short, to even talk about anything. But thank you for being our Woman in Focus today.
Thank you so much, Sushma ji.
Zahra Esmail has been our Woman in Focus today. Don't go away. We'll be right back.